I'm Monica Verga Alborno, and this is the Kindred Social Podcast, a show for high-achieving corporate leaders becoming early-stage founders. Here we explore the early stages of entrepreneurship, moving from idea to execution, building early credibility and visibility, and transferring corporate strengths into founder-ready systems. Through honest stories, strategic conversations, and practical tools, you'll learn how to build a brand that lasts. Whether you're seeking direction, confidence, or a trusted voice to support your transition, the Kindred Social is your space to take action, think long-term, and build a business that reflects your unique story. What is up? It's Monica. Welcome back to another episode of the Kindred Social Podcast. And if you are watching on video, you have to excuse the mess behind me. We are getting ready to pack up for an international transatlantic flight with my two kids, 5 and 3. And then we're taking a road trip from New Jersey down to Florida. So we're gearing up for a pretty big adventure, and the house is a little bit nuts right now with just laundry and things all over the place. And I really have to spend the next couple of days packing as we get ready to travel. But I wanted to record this episode for you and kind of just share what I've been doing within my business from Q4 to Q1, and just to share it because it might give you some ideas of some ways to really make sure your position and your strategy are being done, right? Not all of us are always thinking about the bigger picture. I know my team is always telling me that I'm a very big picture thinker, and I like to think on a long-term scale. So this kind of thing is up my alley. I really enjoy doing it. So I wanted to just share, what I've been doing the past couple months. And this, I would also say, like, you don't have to give yourself some rigid time frame of when you do this. I really feel into my body when I want to do it. So I would say in mid-November, I started getting this inkling of wanting to just like check in with where the business was the past 12 months and start to do a couple actions, which I'm going to share with you. And that really took me into mid-March. It's been from mid-November to mid-March that I was feeling out some things before I made a definitive plan for the rest of the next 12 months to come. So I want to just kind of share what those things were that I've been doing. And I think I can kind of bottle them into 3 different categories. So the first one is to just check in with yourself. This is something that we can get so caught up on, just trying to like get more likes or views on a social media post, or just sell more of this thing that's bringing in some revenue for us right now and is hot. Collaborations, we can just get so caught up on them that sometimes we don't just double check with ourselves. Is this aligned? Is this where I want to be going? Is this also what feels good? Is this getting me excited, or am I feeling kind of icky about this? So that was a moment from mid-November for me. I need to check in with myself. I had this huge virtual summit in October, the Intentional Living during the holidays event, which was wonderful. Like, we had a lot of good engagement. We had a lot of signups. It took a lot of my bandwidth, and it was all digital, and it was, not in person, which I've been feeling more and more like I want to be in person. Wander Wild Family Retreats was built on people coming in community in person. And there was just a lot of focus and energy that went into that virtual event that was, that was a digital virtual event. It was great because we were able to reach people all over the place. You didn't have to necessarily come to a retreat in person, but also didn't have that same like depth and connection that I'm just really feeling like I want with people and with my business right now. So that was my little check-in with myself, and that was what triggered me in mid-November. We really want to think about this going forward. What are the next 12 months going to look like for us? So there's some things here under check with yourself. So what parts of your business are you most excited about? Which parts are you drawn to showing up? Where are things feeling unaligned? Where are things feeling they need to evolve? And you kind of this is just like purely without looking at anything to do with the like health of the business or anything else, it's just checking in with yourself first about how you're feeling. So like I said, that's how I was feeling. And then as you got, I think some of you listening to this know, like I did have a digital membership. We had almost 100 members in that membership. We were doing a lot of digital events. I was creating a lot of digital products. Um, and it was also taking a lot of my bandwidth. And it's a lot to also show up live for these events we were hosting when I'm on a different time zone. A lot of them were at like 10 p.m. for me and stuff. And so I started feeling more and more like that was unaligned and it was time to evolve. And I was starting to think like, well, why um why did I have that piece of the business? What was it trying to achieve? And can I still achieve that in another way without doing what I'm doing right now that's feeling unaligned, right? So these are just some questions to check in with yourself. So point number 1 here is to just check in with yourself, ask yourself some of these questions. I'm a big fan of journaling out stuff and just kind of working it through journaling. I'm also a big fan of audio notes. If you audio record this stuff for yourself, and if you're an AI person who likes to use AI as a tool, I really, really try to. I feel creatively it does not do me well. So I try my best not to use AI, but you can also, audio record and stick that in AI, or put your journal words in AI to kind of help you through the next couple steps too, if that's part of your creative process. Um, so number 2 is, what do the stats say? Like, what do the stats say in your business right now? A lot of us do not look at the numbers. I don't know if we're like scared to, or we're confused, or we just don't have the time. If you're a one person show, it could be difficult to like get all these numbers together, but just find some time. Just if it takes you a day or two, um, I mean, really, it shouldn't take that long. But like, hopefully you have a bookkeeper. Hopefully your books are being kept up to date. Look at your financials. Where is your revenue coming in? And not only your revenue, like segment it out by like what you're offering and what does that IBT look like? Like, just so these are the stats. Like, look at your financials, look at your social media engagement, your wherever you're showing up. What does that engagement look like? And not just like how many people viewed this viral thing I had, but like, what does it look like as far as people clicking through things, interacting with you, sending you messages? Get some really good ideas of like what people are engaging with. What do they really enjoy the most? Make some notes about that. Where are people really connecting with you the most when you're speaking and sharing about something? Are there certain topics they're drawn to more? And then the next one is, look at your email. Look at, if that's a big core part of your business, is your email growing? What does your retention rate look like? What does your engagement look like there? For me, email is really like the point of sale for me for a lot of the time. So that's an important part for me to look at. Am I retaining these people? Am I losing them? Um, am I uh, am I seeing engagement change certain times of the year or with certain topics that I'm talking about? Is there any type of pattern that I want to, point out? So these are part of the stats. Web traffic is also a really good one to look at. See what landing pages people are spending time on, what ones are the most visited, what keywords you're showing up foremost. Just looking in general about your web traffic as far as the volume and also where people are gravitating towards. And I also find here with the stats, this is an important piece, right? Because first you're checking with yourself. Like, we all have this inner compass that like we know we want to go a certain way. We got to check in with ourselves. Now, just objectively or non-objectively, just look at the stats. Just look at the stats. What are the stats telling you? A lot of times for me, the stats are lining up with where I'm going energetically, because I think people can feel that I'm excited about certain places more than another, or I'm even like sharing about something more than another place because that's what I'm just being drawn to in the moment, right? So it won't be unusual for you to see the sync up between checking in with yourself and the stats. But it could also be a little bit different. There could be some places where you are surprised. So then you look at the stats and write some things down and have conclusions. And then the third part of this is to actually make goals and a strategy for the next 12 months. And I always do mine 12 months out because I like to have a clear understanding of the direction that my content is going in, my messaging, my time and my energy and my focus is going in this direction. So if I know 12 months out, I want to get to here, my audience might not know that yet, but what does that look like from a content perspective, a strategy, a goal perspective to get through that next 12 months? And so I have just like this document that I use. I was going to kind of share with you what I went through with myself in the beginning of the year. So I'm not going to like read you everything I wrote about my business specifically, but I'm going to share just the sections that I had. I do this every 12 months. I kind of go back and I read it through. I did this in March of 2025 and now it's March of 2026. So, what did I do in November? I checked in with myself. Then, from about mid November through the end of the year, I looked at the financials. I looked at all the stats, the traffic, the email, the engagement, all this stuff. And then in Q1, I really started making some goals and strategy that I felt called to from how I was feeling inside and also from a business monetary perspective, right? Because we all are running a business here and we have to do things that make sense financially. Um, and so from that, I made these goals and this strategy. And so, what I want to share in the goals and strategy, there's a couple things. So, I refreshed my branding identity. And so, this is to me is part of the strategy because your messaging is a big piece of your strategy. If you are not quite sure what your messaging is and you're going with the wind with what everyone else is talking about in the moment, then you're going to get diluted in other people's messaging. So it's really clear to know what you stand for and what your business stands for. So for me, I have a document that I made a year ago. Um, I made this myself without AI. I think it's really important that you have to do this yourself. If you need to go into AI and help you with certain sections, that's okay, but really try to the best of your ability to do these sections yourself creatively and make sure that they feel like you and they feel like how you want to show up in your business, because you're going to actually use this as a living working thing every time you're creating content, you're creating messaging, you're talking with a client, you're drawing someone into your business. And if you don't understand the words, you don't even read the words, or they don't actually really sound like you and what you want to accomplish, then it's going to just feel all mishmashed all over the place, right? So that's important. So let me share. So this is under number 3, which is make goals and the strategy over the next 12 months. And where I started was the brand identity. So under the brand identity, I wrote a section about the brand story, what I want the brand to feel like the meaning, the positioning, what really defines us, what is the core experience that you're going to get, why are we different, who is our target audience, what are our goals, what words of association do we want to align with when people think of this brand name, what words of association come up, some taglines. I was just refreshing our taglines, and then the client avatar. So I updated all of that. I've had this since I started my business when I founded it in 2021. Every single year I go back and I refresh it, and it has definitely evolved over time and changed. So it's important to just refresh that. And then when it comes to the strategy, you need to get clear on what is your strategy for the next 12 months. So the identity is more like where you're at right now as a brand and your identity. And then what is your strategy and your goals for the next upcoming months ahead. So for me, I looked at what's the core mission of the business for the next 12 months? What are our core goals that we want to focus on over the next 12 months? And I also looked at what events I want to have in the calendar, just to make sure, from a personal level, I'm not overcommitting to anything and I feel like everything fits in my life perfectly because I do have tiny kids. I do live internationally with, family I go visit throughout the year and connect with. So like, is all of that going to line up with, and I'm not kind of like overdoing it with my travel and stuff, or my calendar in general. So looking at that. And then I also, in the same part of strategy, took some time to do some market research. And I think this is a good thing to input in your goals and your strategy. Um, Understanding the market of where you are, where your ideal customers are right now is just going to help strengthen your messaging. So for me, I did some market research on where families are spending money right now in 2026 or in 2025, I should say. Like, what does the past year look like with the trends? What are they saying? Can I align my messaging with those things? Because my service is very niche. It's very new. We're pioneering a new sector of the travel industry. But how can I relate some things that people are already dedicating money to and time to during the year to connect with like my messaging? So I included the market research piece in the strategy as well in this document. And they're very simple, just like Google Docs. They're not anything fancy that I just like put all this in. And then I copy and paste that and I will put it into AI if I am updating my show notes. I do not use AI very much at all. I'm in a battle with AI right now, really understanding how much I want to use it and rely on it. I find it creatively very stifling, so I try to stay away from it. I'm not quite sure ethically how I feel about it. And so I really only use it when the initial words and creative ideas come from myself, and then I'm using it in some way to repurpose it. Sometimes my VA will help out and I'll have her use that, and she'll go in and she'll make a caption and then she'll send it to me to review, and then I might end up updating a little bit. But that just helps to make sure whatever messaging we're sending out there is coming from this core positioning and strategy and goals document. So that's really important to like have underlying there if you are using AI in any type of way to repurpose your work. And also really feels like it's coming from a place that is organically you. And again, you're not just pulling stuff from AI that's like clickbait worthy right now and stuff, right? But it really is aligning with like what you want internally and where you want your business to be going. So yeah, and then I think the one thing I did forget as well that I did was update all of our keywords. Like there's a list of keywords that I like to use um in our language and other ones that I want to get rid of because I see people overusing them all over the place, and I like to be different and stand out. So I have to continuously find new words to use because it feels like every time I find a new word, then everybody else starts using that word. And so I don't know if this is like a new thing with everyone's using AI, so they're pulling everyone's word. It's kind of frustrating. But anyway, um, I was using intentional a lot before. No one else was, and now it's all over the place. I can't use that one anymore. So anyway, I updated all the keywords of just really like how I want the language to feel to when like we're speaking. And again, like most of the time I'm recording like this and then we're taking the transcript and just repurposing it into a blog through AI, and it's my own words. I always say repurpose this into a blog from all of my own words within the transcript. Do not use anything else. Um and then I read through the whole thing to make sure that it's it's sounding correct and it's all edited, and so that's how I'm using AI at the moment for things like this, just a repurpose from the original source of creativity of me, the person who's creating for you. But yeah, having these keywords in there too, even for filler words in a blog, like if they're just like putting a sentence together, sometimes they will try and like add words, and I'll say, do not use these words. Yes, use these words. Because I do want us to sound a certain way. And I also, I want everything to always sound like how it would come from me. And then I also want to be searchable for specific keywords, right? So that we're known for specific things. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing from mid-November through mid-March. And again, like there's not a timeline of when exactly you have to be doing all this. It could take you a couple days, it could take you a couple months. I usually kind of have these certain feelings of shifts I wanna make, and then I might still sit with it a couple weeks to see how I feel it out. I knew almost immediately after I did the virtual summit in October that I was probably gonna close our membership and like our virtual membership, and but I still sat with it and I closed it in January, January 1st. So I still sat with it a little bit and decided as well, like, how I was gonna inform the community and stuff. So it's okay to not, like, make a snap judgment right away, but sit with something and see how you feel. But I do think it's important to do this exercise if you haven't done it, so that yeah, so that you can make sure that you're moving in the right direction and evolving. And when I look at, like, 2021, my focus was the underlying message and the mission is still very much the same, but it has definitely evolved, and I've evolved as a person too, of where I'm at in life. So I mean, that's how all our businesses are, right? I don't think we're all gonna just always stay in the same place. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I would love to hear from you if you are doing something similar, or if you have or you're planning to, and what that looks like in your business. All right, thanks for listening. Until next time. Hey, I just rolled out of bed. So if you're watching this on video, yes, I definitely just rolled out of bed. But I did want to tell you something while I was editing this. I decided to add this for you that I didn't include in the recording. I'm actually part of an event next week happening March 23rd through the 26th. And it is all about how to grow your business without social media. So, what's working for us right now as a speaker, coming together and just sharing what's working right now, and a real focus on growing your business without social media. A lot of the people part of this community, it's hosted by Kylie Kelly, which I've known her quite a few years now. And she does a lot with email and just growing through collaborations and through email and without this kind of constant 24-hour cycle of social media. Um, and so, yeah, it's all about that. It's how to just really grow what you are passionate about without feeling like you have to show up on social media. So, if you're interested, I'm going to share the link here in this episode. And thanks for listening and and watching. If you're seeing the sun beating behind me and very messy, unkept self at the moment, but you know what? That's how it is. I'm editing right now in the beginning of the day. So all right. Thanks for listening. And again, feel free to join that event. If you are listening to my content, you'd probably be interested in what Kylie and the speakers have to offer as well. All right.